By the end of this section, you will be familiar with AWS Regions and their impact on services and billing, describe AWS Payment Models, and understand how to use AWS Cost Explorer to view and analyze your AWS costs and usage. When choosing services on the AWS console, it's important to understand the impact of AWS regions. A region is an isolated geographic area where AWS data centers house the hardware that's used for building cloud infrastructure. When choosing services, it's a best practice to choose the region that your service is available in and closest to your customers. For example, if an American company will be hosting a new network for customers in Australia, then the company should choose the region for Sydney, Australia. This region is the closest to the customers and will help reduce latency. It's important to understand that the region you choose impacts the services that are available to you, the cost of services, and the latency to users. However, regions don't impact the security of your data, the access to your data, or the amount of data you can store. Additionally, regional data compliance requires that certain data must remain in a particular region for AWS regions consist. Not all services are available in every region. In this example, the service on the left is available across all the AWS regions. The service on the right, which shows many services grayed out, is available in only a few regions. Northern Virginia is the primary region for AWS. It provides access to all AWS services and should be considered the region to use when training on AWS. AWS regions consist of one or more isolated locations known as availability zones. Availability zones are comprised of a small campus of buildings or data centers with ultra-low latency and redundancy. They are connected to each other and the internet so that they won't be simultaneously impacted by a shared fate scenario like earthquakes or common points of failure like generators. With AWS, you pay as you go. That means you pay only for the services that you need for as long as you use them, without requiring long-term contracts or complex licensing. This enables organizations to remain agile, responsive, and always able to meet scaling demands. Choose each payment model to learn more. To help new AWS customers get started in the cloud, AWS offers a free usage tier, the AWS Free tier, for new customers for up to 1 year. While the free tier is active, you can try out select services to experiment and see what's right for you. Whether the services will be used for production or non-production environments doesn't affect the free usage tier offerings. There are 3 types of offers. The free trials are short-term free trial offers that start from the date that you activate a particular service. There's also a 12-month free offer that expires 1 year after your initial sign-up date to AWS. There are some always free tiers that do not expire and are always available to all AWS customers. These always free offerings are often based on basic configurations and quotas. Please note that the free tier 12-month offering doesn't cover high-performance compute instances. Be sure to review the pricing for services that you use. You should understand how the choices you make affect billing. For example, when you stop an EC2 instance, you will still be charged for volume resources, but not computing resources. Use AWS Cost Explorer to view and analyze your AWS costs and usage. This tool provides default reports that help you visualize cost and usage at a high level for AWS accounts and services, or at the resource level, such as the EC2 instance ID. Pricing for AWS services varies by region. For example, if an application is using AWS Lambda in the US and Ireland regions, the cost is the same, because Lambda pricing is the same in the US and Ireland. However, if the application is using AWS Lambda in Hong Kong, the pricing is higher. Similarly, an application using Amazon Kinesis data streams will cost 20% less in the US than in Frankfurt. So it's important that you factor in all the services and the regions to determine the true cost of your AWS services. In this section, you learned how AWS regions impact services and billing, reviewed the AWS payment models, and learned how AWS Cost Explorer enables you to view and analyze your AWS costs and usage. Please review the key takeaways and additional resources to further your learning. Choose Next to continue.